नमस्कार। आप सबको फिर से वेलकम है आज इन अनदर एडिशन ऑफ वैल्यू टॉक्स. Today our guest is Captain Prabhnath Singh. Prabhnath is an ex-infantarian and right now he's working at a very senior profile with G4S, which is one of the biggest security agency in India, and he handles the prestigious Google account as the National Account Manager for G4S. Today, we have invited him to share his inputs on CPP, that is Certified Protection Professional, as to what are the basic myths around that and how to go about it. Without further ado, I hand over to Captain Prabhnath Singh.
Thanks a lot, Vipul, and a very warm good evening to all the military leaders there. And I truly value your commitment that on a working day, post your 8-10 hours of hard work, you are here. That reflects your commitment to your personal growth and in particular interest in the security industry and for this particular certification. So I have prepared a small presentation and I'll run through that, and then I'm okay to take on questions in between also to break the monotony of my own voice, right? But as Vipul being the host and the master of this whole webinar, I leave it to him to decide on that. So I hope I can do justice and bring in some ROI to the terrific Tuesday on which you have invested so much of your personal time. So with this, just allow me to share my screen and then we start. Sensitive set of audience. I would like to give a disclaimer that no human feelings have been harmed here in making this presentation, and also we'll try our best not to hurt even the slightest of anyone's feeling during the webinar. So let's start.
किसी से प्यार किया, कभी किसी को दिल दिया, मैंने भी दिया.
So gentlemen, most of us either would have known CPP, some of us would have given CPP, and a few of us would be attempting CPP very soon on in the near future, right? So the first and foremost is, it's not the first time anyone is going to give CPP. It has already been done by many. So I'm sure, if anyone has even an iota of doubt about clearing CPP, I think that's your own creation. I know we all of us present there, I can vouch, can crack it in the very first attempt. And now I'll shift gears to the main presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. And once again, a very warm welcome to all of you to this webinar where we are going to decode everything concerned with CPP. And there are two elements I really want to hit on. Is first to burst the myths, and second is, and the most important is, that maths, and that primarily deals with the penny or the huge money you're going to spend on getting this CPP. So the core of today's webinar is that whoever attempts this should be very, very sure and should not regret attempting this and consider it as waste of money. So that's the goal or the soul of this webinar. And I'll be covering this webinar primarily under 3 F's, which is I'll be covering the facts first, which in fact is very boring. Then I'll cover the fiction, the most interesting part of the webinar, and then the most sensitive part, finances. Okay, know your customer. So know your captain. I'm Captain Prabhu. Some of would have seen my post, would have heard my name, but I'm not that famous. So I thought of introducing, because it's a privilege to be introduced as such a learned, senior, seasoned, military leaders. So why I'm here, that's more important than who am I, is to save your hard-earned DSOP or whatever funds, then reduce the civilian chaos around you and share the topmost secret IRTB, and that is nothing but you are the best. Now, like any transition, even transitioning from the armed forces, paramilitary, or a set career will have its own anxieties, which is very, very normal phenomena. So don't push yourself too hard. Be kind to yourself. And, if people like me or many others who are so less educated, so less experienced, so less exposed to the world could survive, I'm sure all of you with so much of service pedigree, you are going to really thrive once you transition or whenever you transition into the corporate world. Now, a gentle reminder, don't need to repeat it. If you're not wanting to share anything, keep your microphones off. I'll just rub it over, not required. Okay, now let's move on to the first and the boring stuff, that is the facts. So why do anyone, I mean, any one of us wants to do CPP, particularly, officers, from army or paramilitary, it's a natural transition or a natural affinity towards security. That's why most of us are more aligned to go for security, and then to do well in that particular field, we try and do CPP. So these are some of the benefits, tangible and intangibles. So I have listed 7 of them. So it may elevate your professional stature and peer recognition. You may gain a competitive edge in job placement, can achieve global recognition as an expert in your field. It helps you with your career advancement within your organizations and opens up other doors as well. Keeps you updated on best practices, broadens your security knowledge base. And finally, the self-actualization stage of the Maslow's hierarchy is that once you do it, you feel deep personal satisfaction and a professional sense of achievement. Now, which certificate is right for you? ACIS International broadly or primarily regulates 4 certifications for the security professionals. And the first one is APP, which is for the junior most security professionals, kind of an entry level. Then PCI, which is professional certified investigator. It is biased towards investigation, but in a way, it's also part of the mother certification, which is CPP. Then the third one is PSP, which is physical security professional. It is like PCI is biased towards investigation. PSP is biased towards physical security operation. And then top it all, the mother of all certification from ACIS, some people call it gold standard as well, but you can have your own definition, is the CPP, that is certified protection professional. So ACIS board certifies security practitioners, right? And latest data given on AC website is that they are covering more than 3,500 organizations in around 105 countries. So, but for this particular webinar, we'll restrict ourselves to CPP because most of you, in fact, all of you would be eligible for CPP because you are much senior to do APP. And if somebody has an inclination towards other two, we can, maybe we can conduct another webinar sometimes. Now, let me take you through the eligibility requirements for these 4 certifications. So APP, I know one does need 1 year of experience, right? In case you don't have, any higher education. It's all for bachelor's, master, just so anyone with 1 year of experience can do it. For PSP, I know somebody with bachelor's need just 4 years of experience. For PCI, again, same 5 years of experience, 4 years of experience, and 3 years of experience. And for CPP, as I said, most of us are eligible here. So max experience is 7, but most of us are bachelor's or masters, maybe even higher. So 6 years is the max experience we need, and those with masters will need 4. The figure in the parenthesis, the required years for those who have done it. Since APP is not applicable to us, we can take the figures outside the parenthesis. This is what is the eligibility requirement. Now let's get deeper and see some further insights into CPP certification. So CPP, body of knowledge, right, which is the body which decides the subject matter of CPP, as like in project management, you have PMBOK, Project Management Book of Knowledge. So similarly for CPP, you have CPP, that is body of knowledge. And it has got 7 domains. The first domain is security principles and practices. Domain 2 deals with business principles and practices. Domain 3 covers investigation, which is also, it's this similar syllabus which is covered under PCI with few additional elements. Then personal security is domain 4. Domain 5 is physical security. Domain 6 is info security, which is gaining higher weightage these days. And then finally, 7th is the crisis management domain. Now, all these 7 domains have 30 hard task masters of CPP, and I have not taken all 30. I have just picked up few from domain 1 and 2, and just to give you a glimpse that what these tasks entail. And so for security principles and practices, there are 5 tasks, which is domain 1. So I'll just share what task 1 is. So it asks us to do is that plan, develop, implement, manage the organization security program to protect the organization's asset. Then another task could be develop, manage, or conduct the security risk assessment process. Third task is evaluate methods to improve security program on a continuous basis through use of auditing, review, and assessment. A few tasks covered under domain 2, that is business principles and practices. It has got 6 tasks. So out of that, 1 is develop and manage budgets and financial controls to achieve fiscal responsibility. Then task 2 is develop, implement, manage policies, procedures, plans, and directives to achieve organizational objectives, develop procedures, techniques to measure and improve organizational productivity. So, I mean, you can relate to the task, similar tasks you have done in your current or previous organization or on your military or paramilitary career, but just to give you a glimpse that how it may be similar but not same. So domain 3, which is investigation, has got 6 tasks. Domain 4, personal security, has got 3 tasks. Domain 5, physical security, covers 3 tasks. Domain 6, information security, covers 3 tasks, and crisis management covers 4 tasks. In total, there are 30 tasks under these 7 domains. Now, the entire all the 7 domains obviously are not equally weighted, right? So there are biases towards certain domains, and this slides or this chart reflects the weighted mix of these 7 domains. So the maximum weightage goes to domain which deals with security principles and practices. It has got 22% weightage. Then physical security is next. It gets 16% weightage. Business principles get 15% weightage. And then information security gets 14%. Crisis management gets 13%. Personal security 14%, and investigation at last with 9% weightage in the entire CPP domain evaluation matrix or question paper matrix. Now, what is the process to apply for this? The whole process is online. There's no hard copies involved in filling your applications for CPP. It happens over ACES website. I have the link. If somebody wants to see, I can click it and show that as well. But it just search for ACES and you will get the site, then go and you can figure out it's not that difficult. So the entire application process is online. Then once we apply, our application gets into the review mode. It takes around 3-4 weeks to get it reviewed. Then if they feel that our application is meeting all the criteria, then an authorization mail is sent to us. And one important aspect to keep in mind that when we are filling the online application form, our names and other credentials should match with the government IDs we have, because that will serve as the proof, when we are going to take the test at the centers or online, depending on our comfort. Now, there is a requirement of certain documents which we need to have when filling the application. So unofficial transcripts of graduation, generally this is not required. They accept whatever graduation mark sheets or certificates we have. Then a resume aligned to security is required. Then we need to have 3 professional references. So I'm sure that's not a big deal. All of us has huge network asset with us. Then we also need the information of a supervisor or any senior who can confirm our current or previous employment. So not much. These are the 4 documents which we need at the time of filling the application. Now, how do we schedule the exam? So again, it happens on the site of prometric.com. Most of you would have heard anybody who does any online certification, PMP or most of the certificates are done through Prometric. So CPP also offers, or rather ACES offers us 2 options to take CPP exam. One is the physical at any of the Prometric testing centers. And second, and a very convenient one, which got initiated during COVID, is the remote proctored exam from the comfort of your homes, and process is almost same like any other online exam. I have the link as well. I can share during, post the webinar or whenever you need it. But if you just search for Prometric, it's all there. Then how are the exams structured? So exams, multiple type questions, right? And you have to pick only one question out of the 4 or 5 options. Generally, the options are 4. Sometimes they can be creative. So you have to choose one, and there's no negative marking. There are 225 questions. Out of that, 25 are non-marked questions or unscored questions, and 200 are the questions for which we get assessed or marked. And time is very, very sufficient, 4 hours. Many of you can give it twice over. And if you leave a question, it remains unmarked and you don't get any mark for that. There's no negative marking for any wrong answers. So it's always good to attempt all. Then what is the delta score, which give you the much desired CPP certification, is that you have to hit the delta of 650. Each question is not equally, it doesn't have the same marks. It is, the marks are divided based on the difficulty level of the question. Right? So it's a scale scoring. Then there is no percentage score due to varying difficulty levels. There is no relationship to a percentage score here. Scale scoring, that is, it's used. It is used to get to your passing marks. So candidate, I mean, anyone who attempts and he needs to pass should score a scale score of 650. And if you really want to go deep into scale scoring, please take the help of Google search. But primarily, you will have to hit the score of 650, and which is absolutely not difficult. And now, how to study for the exam? Since the questions or pattern and the ideation or the foundation of CPP is based on experiential learning, questions are also experience based. So sometimes it's, I mean, one doesn't even need to refer to the book. Sometimes based on your core security ops or in general life experience also, we may be able to, hit on few questions correct. So it's primarily experience based, more hands-on knowledge related to your core field, that is security in this case. Then there is a study manual, which is called Protection of Assets, and it is available at a cost on ACE's store. It comes in two forms, the ebook version and the soft copy version. The latest revision of this book POA was done in June 2021. And then there are certain additional standards and guidelines. There are quite a few. And these are available to all the registered members of ACES. So this becomes the preparation material, that is POA, and the standard and guidelines. Then there are additional study items like flashcards, question paper, etc. It all depends on the individual need for going for those additional study material. Primarily, these two, in fact, even POA is good enough and standards are good enough to read through because it covers a lot of practical insights. Then once you have passed the exam, you will receive your CPP certificate. And beauty of all these certification is that they have a start date, they have end date. That means these are not for life like our other educational degrees. So in a way, it's pure business. Then you will get a digital badge through Credly, which you can flaunt on social media. Then you can share your certificate readily, given those digital badge wherever in the entire digital universe. But the clock starts ticking the moment you get the certification. The expiry of the certificate starts from the same day. So you have to cater for recertification, and the validity of CPP is for 3 years. With this, we come to the most interesting part, which is the fiction. I just want to take a sense that do we need to pause here for some questions or we continue? So I'm sure this part is more interesting, and this is where I want to come, because part one is nothing but fact. It is easily available on ACE's website, and all of you can easily go and look for that information. So that there was nothing great in part one, but this is what is primarily we are here for: break the myths. And the first myth is that it's quite a tough exam. I completely disagree, and I can vouch for everyone present here that it's not difficult for any one of you here, right? So please don't buy if somebody tells it's a very tough exam. All of us have cleared UPSCs and many harder exams, so this is nothing. Then another myth spread by the newbies in today's security world is that you cannot do it alone. You need a trainer. That trainer may not have lifted even 2 kgs in his or her life, but he wants to train the world champions. Then you need protein shakes in the form of their coaching, their material, their guidance, their mentoring. So shakes are not good, whether in India or anywhere. So just avoid. Is my plain simple brotherly advice. Another myth: the moment you get this, you will get the superstar status and corporates are going to lay red carpet welcome for you. It might happen for a few lucky ones. Generally, it's a myth. Then another one in the series of myths is that it's a must-have to make it big in security, which is again so untrue. There are professionals, very, very senior professionals who haven't done this, right? So it's not a must-have. It's a good to have if you really want to build your career in security. So nice to have, kind of, not must-have, I feel. But in some places now, some MNCs have started becoming smart, or the people who are running those MNCs or those security departments. So since they have done CPP, now they are trying to make it a mandate when they floored the requirement for security positions. So in that way, it could be nice to have. Then another myth is that it takes almost 9 to 12 months, which is absolutely so untrue. With your caliber or the gentry we have in this webinar, I think even 30 days is good enough. At worst, you can take 3 months, but not more than that. Some of you, I think, can crack it even in 15 days. Last, but the most ferocious is the newbies, the new CPP kids the civilian keen Kumars, and this breed is breeding fast, and they are spreading a whole set of hoaxes, lies, misinformation, and somewhere benefiting or using the vulnerability of the rich transitioning officer. I can quote one example, that a boy who is himself in second year of BBA from a God-forsaken college is offering jobs, advice, counseling, mentoring to people who have commanded not only a unit but brigades and maybe divs as well. That's wherein I saw, it was enough for me to get onto this, that somehow we have to take this message to our brother and sister officers that please don't fall prey to these newbies. Take a very, very calculated, focused, well assessed decision whenever you decide to do this certification. That covers part 2, and now let's move on to the moolah. So ACES is not cheap. CPP comes at a cost. So ACES says that show me the money. Now this is the pricing dashboard of CPP. So ACES members worldwide have to pay $550, right, for this examination. Non-members have to pay $855. These are dollars, gentlemen. And emerging market 1, emerging market 2. We fall into emerging market. It's like developing or not so developed world. So there are 3 distinctions of the world geography for CPP exam: the developed world somewhere in the mid, and then comes the South Asia and some countries, where in India we are lucky. In this case, at least it saves us some dollars. So for us, it is the members have to pay $430 and non-members have to pay $645. So we can see that it's not cheap. Any decision to take this exam needs a very, very careful thought. Now, if you have filled the application, right, and somehow you don't turn up or you don't want to give, if you are lucky, ACES gets $150 from you, and if you are unlucky, ACES gets $645. So in any case, ACES wins. Whether you give the exam or not, the winner's trophy goes to ACES. So one has to be very careful that once you have failed, going back, backtracking is a costly option. Then study material costs. So protection of asset comes at a cost of $499 to people in the third world, and it covers these elements, that is security management, and then physical security ebook, personal security, then it covers an element on investigation, then study material on crisis management, and then on business principles. So this is the so-called textbook. If to compare it, it is equivalent to NCERT textbook kind of for CPP, and it comes at a cost of around $500, and it is available on ACES web store. Generally, I know people share those kind souls who have purchased, generally share, but officially it is not allowed to share. Like any other study material. Now, failing is costly here because if you somehow don't score the delta cutoff of 650, we'll have to pay a retest cost of $315, which is again a substantial amount. So cost अभी बाकी है, अभी पूरी नहीं हुई है. So अब जनरली होता है भाई साथ साथ में करेंगे, तो obviously उसके लिए तो फिर ग्रुप बनाना पड़ेगा, और ग्रुप ऑलरेडी एसिस ने बनाया हुआ है, that is the membership group, and there is a cost to it. Fortunately, being in third world, we only have to pay $95. Had we been in an emerging or a developed country, we would have paid $245. So this is also an element of cost towards this certification, which we have to keep in mind. Then finally, I know all of you have decent money, and more than me, the people, the newbies in the market know that you have money, the moolah, because मेरे पास DSOP है. So you have to stay positive that worst case में आपको लगेगा लगभग 1,13,000 का फटका, and in the best case, when we are from third world country kind of, we pay $95. I just pay the exam. I don't buy any POA or anything else. There's no recertification. Retest, no failure. So best case scenario, the minimum fatka is $5 which is almost $45,000. And in worst case would be around $39. So versus ours. So congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, you are the dawn of CPP, or you can celebrate your achievement and establish your credential authority as a leader in the security industry.